For the first time, basketball's champion lives north of the border. The Toronto Raptors have won their first ever NBA title. The Raptors closed down Oakland's Oracle Arena for the final time, beating the Golden State Warriors in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. The Raptors got 20-point performances from 4 different players in the series, clinching a 114-110 victory. Kawhi Leonard won the series MVP after averaging 28 points and 10 rebounds in the series. I want to bring in Bill Reiter. He's the host of Reiter's Block on CBS Sports HQ, and he joins us now. So, Bill, how did the Raptors take down the 2-time defending NBA champions?
Yeah, I think there's maybe 3 answers, and they're all equal parts of their recipe for success. The first is Kawhi Leonard. You mentioned him. What an absolute machine. I know people get angry when we say this, but it is Jordan-esque what he did on both sides of the ball, his level of greatness. That Raptors team, for the most part, played remarkable defense in this series like they did in the regular season. That's critical. And you always have to have luck in a series, and the fact that Kevin Durant injured, Klay Thompson injured at a critical point in the game yesterday certainly didn't hurt Toronto's chances and ultimate success in the NBA Finals.
So, there are pundits who say that the Raptors' victory is really one of the most improbable in NBA history. Why is that? How did they get to this point?
It really is improbable, and you can look at my bank account to see that, because I kept betting on that Warriors team. I mean, they got here by Masai Ujiri, their president of operations, the guy that runs basketball operations, being the ultimate gambler. He fires the coach of the year last year in Dwayne Casey and promotes an assistant coach in Nick Nurse, more of a journeyman than an NBA coach up to that point. He trades away the beloved Raptor, maybe of all time, DeMar DeRozan, for Kawhi Leonard on what maybe a 1-year rental. We'll see if Kawhi decides to stick around in Toronto, and somehow from that concoction of big-time gambles, they pull off a championship for an organization not only had never won one, had never been in NBA Finals, had this history of letdowns and breaking its fans' hearts. So it really is one, and against a Warriors team that is one of the best, or we thought one of the best dynasties, one of the best runs in NBA history. Yeah, you put it all together, it's pretty amazing the Raptors are NBA champions.
So you've got the Warriors, who lost Klay Thompson to torn ACL, and then you've got Kevin Durant, who tore his Achilles in the series. Should the Raptors' victory come with some sort of an asterisk at this point?
Yeah, it's a really fair question, and it's a legitimate question, and certainly for Warriors fans, I think they are entitled to feel like they got robbed. But I think for those of us sports media members, people with a little bit of emotional distance, I think the answer is no. I think Bill Parcells said it right. You are what your record says you are, and the Toronto Raptors record says they're NBA champions. And I'll add this, and several of the Warriors players, I thought, very graciously pointed this out last night in the days leading up to last night's Game 6. Everybody's had the advantage of the other team being hurt at times, including the Warriors when they won their first championship in 2015. LeBron James didn't have Kevin Love for any of the series, only had Kyrie Irving for 1 game in that series. So the Warriors have benefited from another team's serious injuries, 2 stars going down in the NBA Finals. It is what it is. The best ability is availability. So as much as I feel bad for Warriors fans. Nope, no asterisks for me. They got it done. They won 3 games at Oracle, and they're NBA champions without a blemish, a mark, or a caveat.
I like that. The best ability is availability. I absolutely love that. So, this does raise some questions, though, about NBA offseason. I want to start with the Raptors' big star, Kawhi Leonard. He's set to be a free agent. What do you think he's going to do, Bill?
That is the I guess it's the hundreds of millions of dollar question, not just a $1 million question. To be honest, nobody knows. If anyone tells you they have an idea of what Kawhi Leonard is going to do, unless it's Kawhi's uncle or Kawhi, that person is lying to you. He is the biggest enigma in the NBA and maybe in sports. I know that educated guesswork of people around the NBA, and that's what it is. It's educated guesswork, is that he's going to go be a Los Angeles Clipper, that he's going to leave as an NBA champion and come back home where I'm hanging out in Southern California. But again, Kawhi is a mystery. He could be a Raptor. He could be a Clipper. Nothing would surprise me in terms of what his decision is going to be. I will say this. He went to Toronto. He was the consummate professional. He brought this team an NBA championship. He stays, he goes. He's done his part for that remarkable city and organization.
So, the Warriors also enter free agency in a precarious spot as well. As we mentioned, Thompson, Durant likely to be out all next year. They're both free agents, although Durant has a player option. How do you see this playing out for them and for the Warriors?
Yeah, I think the Warriors are going to offer both of these guys a max deal and just understand that there are sunken costs involved. And you're right, what'll be paying each of them in the $30-40 million range per guy to not play next year to lock them up for the long term. Klay Thompson is likely to take that. By all accounts, talking to people around the NBA, the various reports that are out there, Klay wants to be a Warrior forever, and if they were to offer him a max deal, he would take it the moment it's offered. Kevin Durant's a little more difficult to try and decipher. We don't know yet when the dust settles, if he blames anyone for his injury, if he blames the Warriors, if he blames himself, if there is blame to go around from his perspective, if it'll impact where he wants to be. Certainly the New York Knicks and other organizations will do the same thing that I think the Warriors will do, and that's offer Kevin Durant as much money and as many years as they're allowed to just to lock him up for when he comes back, not next season, but the season after. I expect Klay Thompson to be a Warrior. I think Kevin Durant will be for at least a year, but it's really, really hard to know because there's so many variables as it relates to what Kevin Durant is or isn't thinking, who he is or isn't blaming.
Do you think this is the end of the Warriors dynasty?
I know Draymond Green said last night, the Warriors forward after the game, that we would be foolish to think so. And I was with Draymond up until the point Klay came down awkwardly on that dunk on that one leg and hurt himself. I think the answer is maybe. It's maybe. Certainly, if Kevin Durant leaves and Klay Thompson misses next year, I think it's very reasonable to assume that the Warriors are not going to win an NBA championship. Many people think they may not even make the playoffs last year without either of those guys to injury or if KD is rehabbing somewhere else. Steph Curry's getting older. All of that said, if Klay doesn't get hurt last night, and again, no asterisks, but if he doesn't get hurt last night, I certainly think Golden State wins that game, which means they're good enough to force a Game 7, which means they probably are good enough to win an NBA championship. So I'm not going to count them out just yet. I'm not going to say it's the end of their dynasty, but if the dynasty continues, it's going to be a much more difficult journey from here going forward than it has been the last few years.
All right, Bill Reiter, always grateful to have you on, Bill.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. And don't forget, you can watch Bill's show, Writer's Block. It's live from Los Angeles every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, only on CBS Sports HQ.